I have co-founded it in 2014, and we came into business around 2022. We have European telecommunication operator as one of our customer. We did a recent due diligence project for them, and following that, we have been receiving a lot of offers from fantastic government supported platforms. It could be like SciSec, NASCOM, wherein they're encouraging us to connect with several other customer base. I wouldn't say only for telecom, but also a very versatile, very diversified customer base, wherein we have been receiving requests for doing POCs based
Wow.
on the projects which we recently did for one of the European telecom major, and it's pretty much going in the right direction. And I should also be thankful to Shivling and team at SciSec that they are grooming us up to come up with a pitch right in front of the audience. So that is something which was new to us. So going forward, maybe that will encourage us to participate in several such pitches, and that will also give a lot of boost for us to stand aside in comparison with other startups to face larger audience and present our solution pitches. So one another positive aspect I would like to share here, being associated with SciSec, not only our in-house solutions at TelcoSolve, we are also getting a very great collaboration initiative from the startups here at SciSec. So we are merging our solutions and proposing a joint offering in the market. So that is something which is very prominent. I would like to share.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
thank you.
Nice, Shiva. I love to, I love, to kind of go, when you explained your journey, right, in terms of your growth, obviously, I see a lot of upside, and best of luck for all your future
Thank you.
contracts that you pick up and add on to your marquee customer list. So,
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you so much.
Also, Sabir, just one thing. I mean, just giving a heads up.
yeah.
Shiprasad last time contacted. I mean, after we had a one connect with Ramani, okay, and
Okay.
post that Shiprasad shared his profile also, and Ramani, I mean, he reverted saying that he'll try to put in touch with this person. I'll try to follow up just in case if you,
Of course. Yeah, I will.
if you come across.
Today, I have, I have kept some, examples we will talk about. Obviously, I don't have. So I have, that's what I told Shivling, right? That I would have some slides, just as placeholders or setting the context, but I would talk to you about a lot of examples, right? Examples where even VMware, for that matter, has worked with a lot of startups or smaller companies where we kind of have gone together to the customer to solve their problem, and that is the area I think on the lines that you guys should also think to kind of align with OEMs like VMware or other in the same space, right? So we will talk about that a bit.
Sure.
I will share my experience majorly. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'm not that great at giving a lot of gyan, but I will try to see whatever best experience I can share. It's been what 14 years in the industry now in sales, in IT sales. Started my career with HCL back in 2010 after my MBA.
Correct.
Been working with 7 years with them, and now with 7 years with VMware. It's majorly into IT sales, and I've kind of sold to majorly PSU banks and government organizations. So my experience is more around that. Some examples which I like to quote today or discuss about would be more around that. And I'm sure you guys will be able to take something back. And of course, we will keep it more interactive. If you have some scenarios in the past where, you have gone through a similar situation or had faced challenges to progress certain, some of your discussions, would be more than happy to kind of comment or, see if I can add any value to that.
Great. Definitely, Sabir. And just Sabir, since we have another 2 to 3 minutes for the before the we start the session, so I would request quickly the startups to introduce themselves. So that will just give a Sabir a context, what kind of startups they are. Though we shared your brief, we shared your brief bio. I request Lakshmi to take up 1 minute, and if you can just quickly give introduction to your company.
Yeah, hi, thank you, Shiva. So, hi, Shubhesh, and others. So, basically, I'm Lakshmi, co-founder of Prophase Technologies. So, we are a cybersecurity product company. What we are offering is like a complete web application security platform, which includes web application firewall, API security, bot mitigation, DDoS mitigation, and DNS security, and all other related domains. So we've been into the industry for 4 years, and we've been associated with SciSec since the past 2 years. So it was a great journey with them as well. And thanks to all of the support that they've given us and all of that. Yeah. So basically, what we do is we secure all web applications and websites and APIs, because that is the major, the incoming threat doors, right, to all the industries these days. And cybersecurity data breaches are becoming a major concern with all the platforms, right? So this is where we are trying to become a problem solver for all of them. And so we deal with, medium and small scale businesses to enterprise level. So the recent one was the airport attack on the Indian critical infrastructure, airports and hospitals. So our product was able to secure 3 major airports of our country and also hospital
wow.
chains. So that is the contribution we've had so far to the community. So hoping to do more for the community and contribute back.
Thank you.
Impressive.
And just to add here, so they are from our previous cohort. So Profile is a company where they have actually scaled. We have seen their growth from the start of they started a cohort in 2021. So and we have seen in towards how 2 years how they have scaled from just few customers to have a bunch of paying renewal customers, good revenue, good scale up, upscaling, etc. So that's a testimony also on how much effort they have put. So kudos to their team. Okay. Now I request Mahesh and also Abhishek Singh Krishna Gupta to quickly introduce yourself. We'll keep it a little crisp so that definitely we'll have a following sessions anyway later on. Yeah. Abhishek, Krishna, Mahesh, anybody? You can start from introduction. Hi Mahesh, if you are there, or Abhishek, yeah. Go ahead, Abhishek.
Hi. Thanks for conducting this, Shivam. And my name is Abhishek, and I'm a co-founder of Secured App. We are a blockchain security startup. What we have done is we have built a product which is called Solidity Shield, through which anybody can scan the contract, smart contracts, and within seconds of scanning, it tells them about the vulnerabilities that the contract may have or the bugs that it has. So we have taken a product-based approach. We are training our module every day, and for the new bugs or the vulnerabilities, and that's where the AI part comes into picture. And we see this is going to be the thing when most of the companies adopt to blockchain technology. They would need a security partner for that. So that's where we have been building, and I'm looking forward to the session.
Okay. Thanks, Abhishek. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Krishna also, if Krishna, if you can just introduce about your brief about your company and yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Shivling, for inviting me. Namaste, one and all. I'm Krishna Gupta. We secure cyber risk. We secure information so that the companies do not have to worry about the data breaches, or at least they can minimize the major high severity cybersecurity risks. We perform vulnerability assessment and penetration testing for almost all the emerging technologies, including web, servers, networks, even the Active Directory, and also for all the emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, large language models, LLMs, which is like ChatGPT and Bard, as well as for the almost anything and everything. And that's what we do. And apart from that, we have also launched a cybersecurity focused freelancing platform, which is Fix a Risk, where we are inviting, of course, we are currently in beta, where we are inviting all the IT folks and as well as the information security folks to solve one single problem, which is finding a security gap and as well as fixing a security gap. And this simultaneously solves the problem of moonlighting and as well as the great resignation and the cybersecurity skill shortage. Because after the pandemic, most of the people don't want to work as an employee anymore. They just want to be independent freelancers. And that's what the fixerisk.com platform has born. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Krishna. Thanks for that brief introduction. I think we're good to start.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
let me start
no,
my.
no, even before that, so Sabeer, just
Okay.
give me 2 minutes. I'll
Sure.
just give you a brief background about Sabeer. though Sabeer has introduced himself, so I'd just like to quickly take a walk through to other participants on the background. So, Sabeer Kherani is accomplished professional with a rich background spanning over a decade of experience in BFSI sales domain, and in his current role at senior manager BFSI sales at VMware, showcases his ability to navigate complex terrains and build impactful connections. Sabir was also prior with as senior enterprise accounts manager at VMware. Further emphasizes proficiency in nurturing key client relationships and contributing towards organizational success. His academic background includes an MBA in finance and finance from Wellington Institute of Management, and a B from Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology from in information technology. So, see, the reason I was so excited was because Sabir himself called me up yesterday, and just in the evening, wanted to understand, and I said there are only few, the reason I did not call him was because there were only few 10, 12 registrations, and he said it doesn't matter. It's just the matter of the important people matter. Correct. Even if there's one startup also, you'll still deliver the same content with same intent, and that's very important. And today's session is very critical because see, past 2 3 sessions were more on outward seeing. A company can survive, any business can survive without funding. Any business can survive without valuations and getting an IPs. We've seen that, correct? Zerodha or whatever you name. So, but I think there is no business in the world which can survive without sales, right? So sales is the most critical aspect of business. Doesn't matter what product, what team, how good team, etc. you have on your side. But if there is no sales, you're doomed to close down. So sales is something very critical for any business, and on to share his experience on the sales domain. We have the right person here because Sabir he's been doing that. He has done that himself, over and over again, being in the sales field. So that's very crucial because sales is very, testing a field, correct? It checks your nerves for sure, correct? End of the day, because there are cycles, business month ends, etc., etc. You have to reach your target. One good day, there cannot be too many bad days in sales. You have to bounce back. So, without taking more time, I'll open it for Sabir to share your experience. Yeah, uh, it's all your turn now. Sabir, go
Perfect.
ahead.
Shiva, thank you so much. That was a lovely introduction, man. Great. So as Shiva mentioned, right, IT background. So I do understand a bit of IT. Yeah, doing sales from past 14 years in IT. I have worked very closely on all the security areas in the past. So I do understand when Lakshmi mentioned about WAF or cyber attacks or all of this, right? So I do understand this because I've done that in past, and I have a couple of examples that I will share with you today, which we'll talk about that in terms of how was my journey in closing some of those deals. One sec, I think I will have to, because I'm sharing my screen and it's asking me to, restart if I'm not wrong. So if I drop in, guys, just allow me a minute to dial back.
Sure, sure. I can see somebody joined with the name SC. SC. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sorry, I am back. Do I have rights? Because it's again and again asking me the same thing. I'm not sure. Do I
Just
have to share my screen? Sorry.
one moment. I am
You
trying
have
to.
to give the permission for the host. I mean, the host have to give the permission.
Okay, let me.
But that pitch I've only kept to make sure, I give a gist of, how do we or I kind of drive these customer presentations when I'm in front of them, right? When I'm selling my products. Some case studies which I discussed, which we'll discuss about my case studies, the deals that I've done in past in HCL, in VMware, which I thought would be a little relevant to you because it's majorly around security, majorly around integrations with VMware integrating with third-party products, some areas of that, and then kind of summarizing whatever we discussed in the next ideally 45 odd minutes. And I'll kind of want to keep it open, right? So we'll have those, please have those questions coming in. Feel free to stop me wherever you want to, and then yeah, we can discuss. So majorly go to market. One sec. Yeah. So go to market is okay. Why is this? I guess some pop up is sorry. Yeah. So basically, it is all about how do you reach your customers, your target customers, and have that presence felt, right, in terms of the product that you want to position. So 5 pillars. Again, I'm sure you guys would have you would have done this in past when you would have given those investor presentations, right? But majorly, on the product analysis. So by product analysis, what I mean is, right, if you have a particular security products, you being startups, you would have your own unique IPs, right? A product. So you would have an end goal of a product which would have like say 10 different modules, right? You would not start with implementing all 10 different modules. You will start with maybe one or two. So making sure that you do that product analysis with the current market, what the market is expecting, right? The potential of the market, the current state of the product, what you want to take to the market, right? And the most important thing is which persona or which person in the customer's end that you're interacting to that you think this product would sell, right? So basically that is an analysis that you should firstly do of your product from a go-to-market standpoint. Now, by personas, I mean is, right, we have a lot of products in VMware. If I go and talk to a customer, right, I can go to and talk to a CIO and CTO about products around data center, about products around how they can virtualize their data center, how they can have a software-defined data center, all of that. But when I go and talk to a CISO, right, I do not go and talk to him on the data center products because that is not something which will appeal to him. I go and talk to him about on the security products that are there, right? So we have a good security product around with data center firewalling or micro-segmentation, as we call. We have acquired a company called Carbon Black that gives endpoint security, EDR, all of that. So basically, very important for any company, right? When you launch your product, make sure you are in line with what the market is expecting. You start with that, delivering that, and then kind of over time you can keep on adding modules to the same product to enhance the functionality and the persona that you're catering to. That is the first and the important pillar. The second important thing is on the product messaging. Now, messaging is all about, what is your product's USP, or what problem are you solving? That messaging should be very loud and clear in terms of the nomenclature or the naming of the product, what class of customers or what areas in a customer environment that you're targeting to, your target market, again, right? It is all about, you obviously you don't want to go big bang, right? You want to make sure that you cover the pain area of the customer to whom you're meeting, and you highlight not only about your product. An important thing here is, and which I'll explain in my presentation, right? You talk all the good things about about your product, but at the same time also make sure that you do a thorough study of your competition and whatever areas that they don't have, which you have as an USP, kind of highlight that to the customer so that he understands, right? It relates with him. Okay, this is what is unique with a particular product that you're positioning. So that is all about product messaging. Try to keep it simple, right? Don't try to kind of keep it in that messaging slide complicated with a lot of technology at a high level in terms of what problem you're solving. Then obviously the sales proposition, right? Now sales proposition is all about the business case, right? What for which the customer is buying. So obviously there is a technical challenge that the customer is have, or a security threat that he needs to mitigate for which he's buying your product. But that is one aspect of it. Now, what will it help him solving? It will help him solve, the business impact that he's having, because all the technology end of the day is a cost center for any company if you go to see, right? Because you invest into technology, but how it helps the business, right, in terms of making sure you have faster go to market, you have more secure products, you don't have downtimes, all of that, right, is something that you should be able to relate to. So in our parlance today, if you selling a malware or a ransomware product, right, why it will help the customer to make sure that his image is secured in the market, and people trust him as a product which is more secure, or a solution that they're selling is more secure. So make sure you have that, and at the end of it, when anyone needs to sign a check, people look at the ROI. So a lot of times, when I go and sell my solutions to the customer, we start by problem statement, defining a solution, all of that, right? We come to bill of material. After bill of material, right, end of the day, it is about, okay, if he's paying an X number of dollars, what is he getting in return? And or in terms of when is he gonna kind of get the ROI for that investment, right? Make sure that you have those numbers at a high level. And ROI always need not be in terms of monetary numbers or dollar benefits. It can also be in terms of all the intangible benefits that he's gonna get. But make sure that you have in mind, right, when you're positioning, your product. And then the last two important pillars are marketing and sales. Majorly, they both go hand in hand. Marketing is all about having those road shows, being part of those events, those security forums which are there, right? There are a lot of security forums hosted by Gartners or other similar players, right? Where these guys get a lot of because I've been part of a couple of Gartner symposiums in past, right? Which they have this big event once a year for 3 days in Goa or Bombay, where they kind of invite all the different security players. And there, that is the place where, because these consultants, right, work very closely with all the customers. So they have all their CIO, CXOs coming and visiting this Gartner symposium, a 3-day networking event. So in this networking, if I were you, right, if I get a place out there, I have few advantages, right? One is obviously meeting all the C-level people, making sure you position your product to them, and then you kind of have those follow-up meetings to build a pipe, right? So that is something which is more around the marketing dollars that you invest to spend going forward. And the most important thing is sales, right? That's why we all here today to discuss about on the strategy. Now, in sales, I would say, there are many things in sales that ideally clicks. But for me, what has clicked in my experience in past is, right, one is obviously individually how good your product is and how you're able to sell it. Second most important thing in any sales strategy is the partner strategy or the partner alignment, right? In our case also, we have, we go and sell some products directly, but for some products we need help from our partners, because in an overall solution that the customer is buying, it's not always that the customer will buy point products from you. Like, it is not a customer would not sometimes would not buy, say, in an example, only an anti-malware solution, right? He would want to buy a complete suite of security solutions in which anti-malware is one component, right? Or a WAF or a IPS IDS is one component, but he'll be filing so many other things. This is an area where partner plays a key role, right? Making sure you understand your partner, you understand the ecosystem in which you're working. Security is such a complex market that every day you have a new threat, and to mitigate that, you have 4 solutions being launched every day. Because personally, I have seen that, right? When I used to sell security 10 years back in HCL, we had a set of 4 5 solutions that we can go to customer with. Today you have a set of 20 25 solutions that you go with, right? So it is every day it is kind of growing. So make sure that you have this partner alignment correct. And obviously a very important pillar in sales strategy is salespersons, right? To get the right candidate, who has right industry connects, who can get you there, who can kind of sell your product, use his relationships of past, and at the same time, what is in it for him, right? The compensation, which matters a lot, right, to sales guys, right? What do I take home at the end of the day when I kind of do a particular sale? So these are 5 pillars. Ideally, any startup or a product or a solution company should focus on from a go-to-market standpoint. Yeah, any questions on this or?
All good to go.
Okay.
No, I have a question, a quick
Perfect,
question.
yeah.
See,
Yeah.
say when you say a sales strategy, or which basically composed of the strong team, right?
Yeah.
Now, what do you pick up? What do you pick up? What do what is your thought process when you want to select a person or hire a person for your team? Is it
Perfect.
the same
Yeah.
domain experience, or is it the kind of the exposure he has in the market, the connects, or
Yeah.
what do you look at?
Yeah.
Because
So.
this is something which most startups also ask, our own
Mm,
startups, which
mm,
interaction.
mm. So I'll tell you what, maybe I'll answer your question, but I'll answer it in a little different way, right? Now, this half I became a leader of a team, right? And obviously, there were few people and someone moved out. And when I was hiring a person, right, for my team, obviously, I was told by a lot of my leaders that, dude, don't look at someone as good as Sabeer Kherani. You're not going to get Sabeer Kherani in the market, right? You have to make sure that person kind of grows to become Sabeer Kherani, right? So few things that I look at is make sure that that person that you hiring, from my standpoint, right? Because you have to be fast. In end of the day, you have to sell your product, right? So for you to be fast and to sell your product, domain is very important. So if you are into a security space, someone who understands security, because that is the person who understands security, would be able to understand your product, will be able to connect your product, as I mentioned, with all the other ecosystem solutions, and would also have connects in the market, right? Because you would have sold those similar products or those kind of solutions to the end customers. So he knows the pulse of the market. So that is a very important thing when you hiring a person. And the second most important thing when you hiring a person is, right, what appeals, right? If I go outside, to me, obviously one is the product that I need to sell, because I will get my relationships. So make sure when you interview a person for this role, make sure you also understands the relationship he has in the market, not only by the names that he put across, but also by some experiences that you need to ask him. So if that person has closed a deal, you should ask about his journey in terms of what he has done to close a particular deal, because that gives you a lot of clarity, right? Because you will be able to relate, will he be a right fit for me? And the most important thing also is the comp plan, as I said, right? For a sales guy, end of the day, I am into sales because I see those multipliers at the end of the quarter or a half for me. So if I do a particular deal and if I cross that threshold, I obviously get those multipliers, and hence I'm doing sales, right? Because that should excite me. I should be motivated to sell a solution. So make sure your comp plans are aligned with with his goals as well. So yeah, I think if those 2 3 boxes are ticked, you will get the right resource to kind of upscale your platform and solutions in the market.
Great. Thanks, Abhi.
Yeah. Okay, quickly. So, successful pitch deck basically. So, yeah, my point is, yeah, some random slides that I made this morning. But yeah, I would kind of want to run you through these, right? Because, this is what, this was my, so when I was kind of preparing this deck in the morning, right? I went through my journey, because I didn't want to give some gyan to you, right? About what is good and what is bad. So, but what I have learned over time, right? Using the right slide deck for a successful pitch is very important, right? You can I've seen some presentations where, we go with a 30 slider deck, and the customer is cut off in the first 3 slides. In terms of like, because he's giving you a 60-minute slot, you go with a 30 slide deck, 2 minute per slide deck, you're not going to do justice to that. And, make sure that, it does not have a lot of content on it. Don't put a lot of English on that slide deck. Make it a little animated, have some pictures, give some animation. So make sure you have the right slide deck in place, because that is very important, right? That is something that will connect you with the customer in the first 3 minutes, and you will understand that, right? Second is, don't have a monotonous flow of selling your solution. Try to tell a story. Now, story, how you can, end of the day, for a sales guy, right, of any organization, you have to be a storyteller. And I love our PM Mr. Modi, right, in terms of the way the way he articulates, right, the way he tells stories. People call it jumlas and all of that, right? But outside, when you see the investments coming to India, right, it has all happened in the last few years because of the vision that he has given, right, to the world in terms of what India has potential of and what India is. He's an amazing storyteller. I love the way he kind of articulates or steps up his discussion, right? Make sure you have a story in your decks, right? So your decks, when you understand, so when you go for a presentation, I'm sure you would have done background checks into the customs problem area, right? So you start with that. You start with the problem. You start by magnifying how dangerous that problem is, kind of getting your solution, create a story, and then tell him, wow, at the end of it, your life would be wonderful, jingalala types. So make sure you have that story, right? Be passionate. I'm sure all of you guys are startups. You will be passionate about your solution, but that passion should also pass on your team, who's going and sitting in front of the customer and who understands the product, and solution. So you have to be passionate if you have to sell something. Selling is really difficult, and I've realized it a few years back. When initial few years I was struggling, right? But then, yes, I got some good mentors, I got some good bosses, and the journey was smooth, right? Proofread, when I go for a presentation, because every day, even VMware is innovating. Every day we come with a very different, and not every day, I would say every half, right? We change our strategies. We decide which solution we need to push hard to the market, which one we need to kind of step back, what is the pull. So make sure, you whenever you go for a presentation, right, you read it, you practice it, because you don't want to kind of go out there and be repetitive, or stammer, or get confused somewhere. So basically, yes, do all of that, and obviously pay attention to design and the flow, right? It should connect. What I mentioned in the first, right? Use the right slides. The flow should be able to connect, starting with a problem, then a solution, why you better, your use cases, end of the day summary. So make sure, you share all of that. So that is something which is something that you should definitely look when you're making a pitch deck. Try to keep it short. Don't put in a lot of slides. Try to talk more, because that is where you will be able to connect. That is where you'll be able to take actionables for your next meeting. Yeah. Sorry, any more any this thing, because the slide is more related to that, right? Areas to cover in the presentation. So this is what ideally I do, right? I start with the corporate overview, talk like one slider on your company, what your company is all about, when did it start, what business you do, all of that. Get into the problem statement directly. Highlight a very clear problem statement to the customer. Look, Mr. ABC, this is what we discussed with you, and this is what we think your problem statement is, right? Maybe make sure you get a concurrence from him. Okay, sir, do you agree? Is this your problem statement? Yes. Okay, then get into the value proposition. Okay, so to solve this problem, this is what we have. So my value proposition is pretty simple. This is how it's going to fix your gaps, and this is how it's going to give you a better tomorrow. Basically, then why your company, right? Because you'll be evaluating similar solutions in the market from different companies. Why your company? If you have references, please talk about that, because that is something that really connects. If I give an example, right, in the last few years, I was an IC, an individual contributor for VMware, and I was, I started with small accounts, then kind of started managing SBI, RBI, the two big accounts, the two big banks, BFSI customers in the country. Now, when I have done some good sales with these companies, right? Now, in this new role of this corporate leader, right, I talk to the second tier of banks. So I met, the CTO of CSB yesterday. I was with the CTO of DCB last week, Federal Bank, all of these, right? When I go and talk to them, now I talk to them about, because they aspire to be this big banks of tomorrow, right? So when I go and talk to them, I talk to them about, what I've done, what SBI and RBI has done, what they can do, what was their journey, how they can relate to their journey, where they are right now, what they should start with, what they should add next. Because that is also something that they would also get excited, right? Because if you have done something in an XYZ bank, if you tell that story to the similar size bank, they will be like, oh wow, okay, so they had the similar problem and they did this, and you guys have done that, so yes, of course, why not. So basically, talk about those. So Lakshmi, you did mention about that airport, right? So those three airports that you're securing now. Now, when you go and pitch to all of the other airports, you have a very good reference example. You can talk about your journey, because people will be able to relate better. And if you have done that, right, it's nothing more than kind of buying the solution for you, because they have the maximum chances of of it being successful with you, right, as compared to other competition. So talk about your references. References that to local has crazy impact, right? In VMware, because it's a global company, we have a lot of global references. But when I talk about global references to my customers, right, I could see, right, those questions coming in from them, that okay, globally the ways of working are different, the scales are different. India is very different, right? India is very different. Rather, people take Indian examples globally. So when whatever work that we have done in State Bank, right, I kind of take that, my colleagues, right, take the same work to and go and talk to a city bank globally, right? Because the scale that which our products are tested. So talk on the local references if you have, and obviously do share your learnings. That is very important, right? You need to share your learnings. You need to, and it is no harm in telling the customer in terms of where he is going wrong, right? One sec. Sorry. So So talk about your don'ts, which is very important, right? If you have gone wrong somewhere, or if the customer has gone wrong somewhere, which you guys have realized later and corrected, talk to them about it. Because it is the learnings, right? Because they would not want to do the same mistake. And when you are vocal and transparent to them, okay, this is what you should not do. Or for example, they come with you with 10 problems. You kind of cut down slice those problems into say four, and you should tell them, okay, look, mister, you should look at these four first, because this is something that you can easily low hanging fruits, you can bridge, and you can take care of a lot of other things later. So make sure you have those step by step plans to mitigate their challenges. Don't try to, as I said earlier, right, don't try to boil the ocean, try to solve all these problems. Even if you kind of break that, it's okay, right? And you can give your examples. Okay, you have done this mistake in past, or this customer has done this, and you should not do that types. So yeah, these are some
Yeah.
areas
So
which
Shabir, I would like to
yeah,
intervene here.
yeah,
So basically, you were talking about the references we can give to the customers, right?
yeah.
So I'm sure most of the startups can relate. So since we are into the product phase, right? So
Hmm.
this is where when you're an indigenous product and you're competing against the billion-dollar product. So
Hmm.
so this is where even if we, despite having real use cases of
Hmm.
showcasing it to the industry, they still have the stickiness to the Gartner quadrant products
So
and
I'll
to
tell you,
the
this is a perfect, and I was actually expecting this question, right? And I have a live world example, right? And I can, and it was an example of almost 10 years back, but I still call that customer today to kind of freshen my, my journey with him, so that I can come and tell you guys, what happened then. So, I have an example. If you can kind of pause your question for the next few minutes, I will cover that in one of my examples, and I will tell you what helped us when I was in an SI. So I was in HCL back then, a system integrator, and I went with a local product. Again, as you rightly said, a multinational company with a multinational product. But what helped me there, I will cover in that slide. So that will give you some thinking points in terms of what you should position and how you should position it differently, right? So yeah, I will take that question in a few minutes. Any other questions?
So hi, Shua on this side.
Yeah, sure.
Should we be also quoting some numbers here? Because I felt there isn't any mentioning of numbers on
Numbers of, sorry, in terms of?
numbers. It could be in terms of the, the proposed sales figures, and also the revenue which we are going to generate. It could be either from the customer perspective, the revenue from the customer perspective, or I mean, I do not know if it is wise to mention the revenue from the one who pitches.
Yeah, so I will tell you, so basically numbers, is something which I can give you the numbers of the examples that I will talk to you in my, example slides, right? But I am not sure how would those numbers help you, but I'll try to see if I can talk to you about some numbers. Basically, if I understand your correct question correctly, you want to understand the scale of the investment that a customer has done in the particular solution that I've sold in past. Is
Yes.
that what you want to understand? So
Yes.
I will cover that. As I said, Lakshmi, I told Lakshmi, right, in that next slide when I talk about, we'll talk about numbers as well in terms of how much have we picked up, how much the competition was, what was the premium or whatever, blah blah blah. But I'll talk about it.
I have
Okay.
one question. See,
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I mean, whether it's apt or not, but always, from the typical, even, I mean, I'm from a business family, so back then they used to say, uh, I'm, my father is a farmer, but all my paternal uncles have been into the business of
Yeah.
selling edible oil and all that.
Yeah.
See, whenever they go and meet and see, they always go with the instinct. See, they say that 5 मिनट उससे मतलब 2 मिनट कस्टमर से बात करो, पता चल जाएगा कि ये लेगा कि नहीं अपने से, correct?
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
if you could just throw light of your
Yeah,
experiences
yeah.
where you go with
Yeah.
the instinct also sometime, right? I mean,
Yeah.
leave
Yeah.
about the technicality part, leave about the
Yeah.
customer buying,
Yeah.
requirement, all the big names.
Yeah.
Something it's just always about the instinct, correct?
It's about instinct and it is also about relationship. So I'll talk about both these points. Let me make a note of this. Fair point actually when you talk about instincts and relationships. But yeah, I'll talk about this. कि
Yeah,
मेरे साथ भी हुआ है वो पास्ट में and
correct,
yeah, I can very well relate, right?
correct.
Basically, मेरे साथ हुआ है not on the good side but on the bad side, where I understood in the first few minutes that he's not going to buy for me, so I should not waste my time here basically. But yeah, I'll tell you and why it happened and how it happened. I'll also tell you that.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so basically, this is now in the next. What I have done is, as I was telling you guys, right? Obviously, not a pitch that I want to take with you guys in terms of I don't want to sell VMware solutions to you. That we can do it any other day if you keen in buying any stuff from VMware. But basically, in terms of now the flow, what I was saying, right? In terms of when you make your slide deck, what is the messaging that you should cover is something which I would want to capture in the next 8-10 slides. So these slides are only there to show you the flow, but not on the content. So don't get into the content of it, but understand the flow, right? So basically, when we go and talk, right, VMware now, just to give you a background, right, we are in the third phase of our growth. So we are in the growth where we are catering to the multi-cloud world or the customers which has multiple cloud environments with them. So VMware traditionally was known as a private cloud company where we had our own on-prem cloud. But the way the customer landscape is changing, right? Customer is adopting a lot of public cloud offerings from outside because they want it to be more agile, more fast, all of that, right? And private cloud takes time to build, right? But when it's there, it's there. But if someone who wants to move fast adopts these different cloud providers, which are the public cloud providers like your AWS or your Googles or your Amazons of the world, right? So basically, how VMware is working with all of them to give a better solution is our new pitch to the market when we go and talk to the customer. But I'll tell you how we kind of cover this, right? So, yeah, accelerating the digital business have a very eye-catchy, opening slide, right? Or the first slide. As I said, yes, do talk about, your company, which I said, right? Do mention about your company, about the numbers of people that work with you, revenue that you generate, offices that you have, support structure that you have, all of that. So just capture in a very brief in the first slide. Now, this is a slide. So if you see in this slide, right, there are pictures, there is animation. It talks about what? It talks about, the business. So I am not coming to the problem now. I'm starting with the business. Always start with the business challenges. End of the day, you and me have to sell a solution. Now, when I sell a solution, where is the need of that solution coming in? It is coming from business, right? Now, the businesses are growing or accelerating their digital journey. Right now, when you see any business, I cater to a bank. Bank, if I quote an example of a bank, every day bank is launching new services. We didn't had mobile banking in internet banking earlier, chaos banking, a lot of things, right? Tab banking. So bank every day wants to innovate. You have multiple services, you have integration with all the fintechs, all of that. So when I go and talk to banks, right, every day they're coming up with something new. Can they wait for their IT to give them that solution? Maybe not, right? They want to move fast. They want to give solutions to their business fast so they can sell and generate more revenue. So basically, this is where the banks are moving. Now, in this journey of the banks, as I said, right, they don't always go to the internal IT. They also go to the cloud players to get that underlying infra on which they want to host the application. So basically, you talk about what they're consuming, then you get into, you get into how this has an impact basically, right? Because they want to move fast, they want to generate revenue, they want to increase productivity, they want to have business roll out those features fast, all of that. Now, but is this easy? So this is now you see the drift. Now what am I doing is I am telling these guys, look, all of this is okay, but is it easy? Maybe it is not easy, right? It is easy to deploy things, but is it easy to manage things? Is it easy to maintain things? Is it easy to take care of the risk posture? Are you making sure before you rolling out to these public cloud players, which is outside your organization, is your security in place? Are you sure you would not have any data breaches? You will sure your team will be able to manage. You have those skills. So basically, then you tell them, okay, these are the challenges that you have, right? And then you get into what? You get into, okay, so this is how you want to look. Now, is this slide, do I have a lot of, text on this slide? No. Do I have a lot of, this thing on this slide? The only thing that I have on this slide is, look, your environment is super complex now. Why? Because you have multiple clouds, you have multiple applications sitting on those clouds, you have your workforce or your employees or your agents or your customers accessing those applications via different ways of this thing, whether handheld, mobiles, laptops, whatever, from outside. All of this, it is messy, it is complex, right? So basically then about me, okay, this was where VMware was. Then we got into this. Now look guys, we're here to help you solve this multi-cloud, right? We are the leaders. We have done this in past. You have experiences of doing this on-prem. How do we do it differently? Okay. So what we do is we give you a common platform where we take in all the clouds. We have a private cloud. You have built a private cloud on VMware. You trusted us. You made a cloud on us. Now we have consumed services from AWS, Azure, Google, and other cloud players. What we have done for you now, the solution that we have is VMware cross cloud services. Now, what are these cross cloud services? What you have on-prem can get into any of the clouds. You have the common layer of security, common layer of management, and you can manage it from any device, right? So this is the flow, right? And we only provide, only VMware provides these, which is multi-cloud. You don't have anyone else in the market who gives you this seamless integration across your platforms. We do it fast, we do it frictionless, and we have references. Okay, these are some global references. Then you talk about local as well. But okay, like what you're doing right now, we have done this. We have done this in past. We have done with the similar. So you are a bank, we have done with bigger banks. If you are a telecom, we have done with bigger telcos. We have done this in past. We have experience with them, right? Put in some numbers there. And then again, linking back to your story where you started. So your business wants your digital thing. We give you all of that, but with what? With agility, with a lower cost and a lower risk. So basically you circling it back to them, and then you throwing some numbers. Okay, we associated with so many customers, we have so many install base, so many workloads running on us across so many of these, right? And then a tagline: we deliver a trusted foundation to accelerate your innovation. So basically why I wanted to kind of run you through these slides is to give you a flow of what I mentioned, right? Is the messaging getting captured? Am I catering to what he wants to listen to me? I had only what, 8 slides? If he would have given me even in a half an hour, 40 minutes, will I be in a position to deliver what I want to? Okay, I understood he has challenges on multi-cloud. Okay, I went with a solution I have, and I didn't talk a lot about technology. I told him, look, my friend, I will be able to solve your problem. You have a problem, I have a solution, I will be able to solve it. This is how easy my solution is, and this is what I've done at other customers of your scale. Simple. Will you get repeat time from him? Of course you will get, right? I have got that time from my customers back, and I've sold these solutions to them. So yeah, this is what I kind of wanted to capture from a flow standpoint. Any questions? Or I get to the meaty part, which is examples, which I wanted to spend more time with you guys on.
Yeah, I think
Correct.
with the most
So, yeah.
yeah.
So now I'll start with, so maybe let me start with the second example first, because that answers the question that both Lakshmi and Shiva, if I'm not wrong, right? Both Lakshmi and Shiva had, right? SBI. So basically now, guys, again, in confidence, sharing this in this closed room, make sure that we kind of don't go out there in open market and talk about, oh, Sabeer Kherani from VMware has told us all of these things. But I wanted you guys to be more, I wanted it to be more real and realistic, right? And I've worked with HCL in past, so it's an ex-organization. Yeah, sorry.
Hello.
Hello,
Yeah.
Sabeer.
Yeah.
It's me, Vinayak here.
Yeah, Vinay.
Yeah, when you're talking about that's multi-cloud.
Yeah.
Okay, say I'm taking one service from AWS, something from Azure, or something from some other X cloud.
That's
Okay.
right.
So how you like recognize which one? For example, if I want to go for storage, so which one has to, whether I have to go for AWS or whether I have to go for Azure? So how you calculate that based on cost or based on the services they give?
So basically, I'll tell you.
Because
So yeah. So I got your question. So suppose if you
uh,
are, so basically now, I will talk to you as if you are a buyer and I'm a seller of a solution to you. You will be able to better relate, right? So if customers talk to us on the similar lines, the way you have questioned me, right? Okay, look, Sabeer, you talking to us about multi-cloud services that VMware has to offer. But I have, all of these cloud providers, right? The public cloud providers all have their unique USPs. Someone is good in analytics, someone is good in like an AI/ML skill, someone is good with their backup solutions, someone is good with their storage solutions and all of that, right? So basically, how should I decide? I tell the customer, look, the solutions that I have to offer, you have an on-prem cloud with you, which is giving you X services. Now you want these additional services from all these public cloud players, right? You can go ahead and do that. What I will be able to give you is, I will be able to give you a better manageability. So you have an on-prem solution from VMware, you have taken storage solutions from AWS, you have taken an analytics solution AIML from Google GCP. I will give you a layer on top of it, which gives you visibility into all of these three environments, gives you visibility into your spends on all of these three environments, also gives you analytics that tomorrow you spending an X amount on AWS for storage. If you move to Google, along with the analytics that you're doing there, you're going to spend X minus 2. Right. So you will be in a better position to decide tomorrow where will be your spend optimized and where you should put in your workloads. And what this gives you is flexibility to move your workloads across clouds, on-prem cloud, any of the public clouds, get the better TCO ROI for your organization and a manageability, right? So yeah. Did I kind of answer your question?
Yeah, it's great explanation. I got it because see the client, if the client good at technical things, he can go and evaluate. If a client is a non-technical but he needs services, then he rely on your decisions like VMware decisions. That's why. Okay, that's a great. Go ahead.
Sure. So basically, this example that I wanted to talk about now, the second one I'll start with first is the SBI, State Bank of India. I was working with them from 2010 to 17 in my capacity of in HCL when I was an account manager and then a regional sales manager there. And we had sold these two captive SOC and PIM. So, PIM is a privileged identity management solution. I'm sure you guys would relate to it more because I only captured security examples here. PIM is a privileged identity management solution which gives you more of privileged access to all of your devices, and it acts as the first point of security and all of that, right? When these guys were evaluating PIM, right, what they had was they were talking to someone a solution called CyberArk. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this solution, CyberArk. It's a very big, I think, US based company, and this guys these guys are into again PIM plus a lot of other things. Now when we started this, so basically before we getting into that, right, I will kind of give you the sales process of a PSU customer, which will give you a context of how difficult it was to sell Arcos as a PIM solution over CyberArk, right? Which Lakshmi, you asked me, right? CyberArk is a US company, Gartner's leaders quadrant in Gartner. Obviously, that guys have good industry references against an Arcos, it's an Indian company. You can Google about Arcos. It's an Indian company, a small startup back then. Few people developed this product in Pune, in their R&D center in Pune, and a giant like an SBI, who kind of the industry follows, right? Whatever SBI buys, the industry follows in terms of banking, right? These guys went for Arcos. That too, they went for Arcos after what? After their evaluation process, which is a 20-step evaluation process. In any PSUs, if you guys would have worked in past, right? Because PSUs may selling a product is not simple. It is the most difficult thing. When you go and sell to a private customer, now it is about your relationship. They understand your solution and they invest in you. 3-step process. You get the right pricing. Say 4-step process. In PSUs, now you start with building your relationship. They would not give you time if you don't have that right relationship. And relationship is, again and again, I'm emphasizing on this word, is it is very important, guys. Whatever in my personal capacity I was able to do in VMware and cracked some really big deals for them in SBI and RBI was because I had worked with SBI and RBI in past, and I had some fantastic relationships. And relationships are not made over technology. Relationships are made outside technology. You have to connect with them on a personal level, common points of discussion, common place from where you belong, common areas of interest, whatever. I have had discussions with my customers on cricket for hours and hours without talking about technology. I have had discussions about my customers about politics for hours and hours about talking about technology. I have had discussion about their kids, and my kids are still very small, but still I could relate about the future studies, the cost of studies in India, how it was different than what my mom dad has spent when I was growing up against what their mom dad are spending, and all of that, right? Different customers will have different problems. If you connect with them on that, I should say 70% of your sales is done there. And that's the reality of life. Trust me, I'm not sure how many people will tell you this, but as I said, right, people buy from people. Remember this mantra. I'm sure yeah, this is what I've learned over time. And yeah, so basically, when I talk about the sales cycle of a PSU, right, it starts with relationship. You get into the discussion mode with them. Then you get into the problem identification. You understand their problem. Okay, yeah, sir, you have these challenges, you pain areas. Okay, we understood that. Then you get into the solution discussion with them, and this is all pre RFP. So basically, PSU follows an RFP process, right? They come for request for proposal, or before that they come with an EOI, which is interest, where they see interest from people and all of that. So this is the solution discussion, all of this, right? Then when you get in, this is the time when you sell your product, when he is sold on your idea. And when I talk about relationship, it is not only with one person. You have to make sure that you have relationship across levels. In SBI, when I started working, right, I started with, so there are two ways: either you come top down, or you go bottom up, and both has worked depending upon the customers, I would say, maturity, right? I have at many places I've gone bottom up. So I've had relationships with the managers, chief managers, AGMs, DGMs, GMs, CGMs, EDs, right? That's the level in PSU. A lot of times I've got down. So I've started with a CGM, then that person tells the GM, then DGM. Very different sales cycles, very different motions. I have loved both, right? So I don't mind talking to a manager and a CGM at the same time, but that's how, right? That's individual to individual, basically. So basically, it's before the RFP, you have already sold your solution. Now, when you kind of get into the RFP, it is about how you specifications in an RFP of your solution is very important. If you have sold your solution, if they have given you a tick, right, they will make sure your specs come in the RFP. And if in your specs come in the RFP, they will also take the ownership of defending that into pre-bid. After RFP, there is pre-bid. There are a lot of questions that these customers would, your competitions will ask the customer, why do you want this? Right? He should be in a position with help of you to defend on why does he want a particular functionality. It is not that one fine day I love this person, I will put his functionality. All of that is okay, but you have to defend each and every point that goes in a specification. So when you put about that, then there is budgeting, there are approvals, the bid open, all of that, right? In this, one more important thing, it is not always, it will be point solution bid. You will have, so first example, SOC was 18-20 solutions in that RFP. PIM is only a point solution bid. Point solution bid, it is more easy. When there are 15 solutions, you have to work with the ecosystem. Remember, guys, what I told you in the start, right? The sales cycle, in mapping the ecosystem, having the right partners is very important. You're not going to sell your solution all by yourself. It has to work in the overall context. What customer has, what customer wants to buy, what is buying along with you, how is your integration with that solution? Do you have those open APIs that integrate? Do you have logs that get forwarded to their common solution? Because you're talking about security, right? And hence I'm talking about these areas. Your solution will have logs? Are those logs forwarded to their common console or SOC or a SIM solution that they have? Are they able to monitor? A lot of those things that you have to look into. So make sure when you design your solution, because you are startups, you look at those aspects as well. The ecosystem partnership, your open APIs, all of that, right? And then obviously it is presentation, scoring, the process of the bid opening, commercial. Now commercial can be L1 bids or reverse auctions. PSUs also have reverse auctions, right? Reverse auctions also, you can, if you have relationship, you can drive that as well. I've driven so many reverse auctions the way I wanted to, right? Basically, it's all about that. And then obviously and then the most important part, when you sell the solution, it is about day two. So your selling does not stop at selling the first time. I have made money, or the solution that I've sold in SBI, when I was talking about our cost, we made money when we sold them repeat. We didn't make money when we sell them for the first time. You are startups. It is an investment stage for you. If you invest, right? If you go, your product has install base. If they adopt, if they see the value, they're going to buy from you. They're not going to go outside. And when they come back to buy for you, you can ask for the right premium or the value that you want, right? So basically, it's about day two. It is about support. You can't just sell and leave, right? The relationships that I was talking about that I have built over time, it is because I was standing with them when we were delivering the solution, when the solution was in day two operational phase, right? These guys used to call me when they had a downtime. I have to make sure that whatever I can help, I can give them. Hence, they come back to me. Okay, they know Sabeer Kherani is not going to sell and leave. He's always going to be there to come and help me. So basically that is something. So in HCL we had a very good book by our CEO then, Mr. Vineet Nair, which talks about relationship beyond the contract. So HCL mein it was not only about contracts, it was what we do on the ground. We were empowered to do a lot of things beyond the contracts, right? So basically it is also about, you're going beyond the contract to help your customers be successful, so that if they are successful, so they buy. So as I said, right, again with this point links back to relationship. When you sell a product, to a person. Now that person has given a story to his management that, okay, with this product I'm going to solve this problem. If you help him solve that problem, he will be the hero in his management or in his team, at whichever level he is. If he's hero in this team, he will make sure he will come back to you, because everyone wants to be in the limelight. If you make someone hero, he'll come back to you again. So basically, now coming back to this example, right? RFP, CyberArk dominating the RFP. We came in, started with what? Relationship. Spent time with the customer on the ground, understood his problem. It is not pure relationship, understood his problem. We told him, okay, we have a solution. CyberArk is giving you 10 things. Sir, I am giving you 8 things. I don't have 2 things. Now, these 2 things, do you really require on day one, sir? He said, no, I don't require it. So there is a must have and good to have. Is it must have for you? He said, no, it's good to have. I said, sir, then let's make those, demarcation in the RFP, must have and good to have. If I qualify on must have, then I'm in. Good to have is something which is extra brownie point I get. Okay. Okay. So I also had some functionality which was good to have. So that was the time when I kind of sat with him to design the specs which already CyberArk had given. So CyberArk has given us specs. We make sure that our specs go in, and he gets the solution he wants. It's not that I'm trying to push something to him. He gets the solution. You have to double click to understand, does he require his pain area? Does he, understand his pain area really well? If he understands his pain area, that is the time when you can give him some inputs from your solution end as well. Okay, not directly telling him that you're selling your solution, but you obviously would be on top of your solution, right? So you know how it relates to his pain area. And when that clicks, right, I said, you should be on the same frequency and wavelength. If that clicks, your specs go in. Our specs went in. It was an open RFP. CyberArk, Arcos competing. Good part in this bank is, it was not a closed bid. That your bids go in, it opens, and the solution is decided. And it was not technical. So they technically evaluated before the bid. So I was technically evaluated. Even if they could have kept the scoring, sometimes it's techno-commercial. So I would have scored well against CyberArk. And then commercial. Commercial was reverse auction. CyberArk being a US company, big company, they started with an X number. So someone asked me about the values, right? Vinayak, you asked me about the values, right? That reverse auction started at, again, between these walls, we should not talk about this outside, started at say 2 crores for some X number of database endpoints, right? That in reverse auction, that value came down to 50 lakhs. In that 50 lakhs, CyberArk said, oh, look guys, now I can not able to go beyond this. Arcos picked up that solution. One important thing that happened, it was not only about picking that solution. It is about, once we became L1, we made sure that whatever we promised, we deploy. We were there standing with him. We have invested into 2 additional resources that were based out of SBI in the deployment phase, which were not charged. There is a resource for 2 people, right, that comes in, right, along with the product. I picked up the deal. I may be negative, I may be positive, but it was my solution, we picked it up. But what helped us after that was, once the solution was deployed to cater to their requirement, I got, repeat business in the next 6 months. And you would not believe the magnitude of that repeat business. That repeat business was 6 crores. 50 lakhs to 6 crores in 6 months. Why? 6 months of making sure I deliver what I promised. And we even tweaked a lot of our technology, parameters. So when Lakshmi, I remember you asking me this question, Sabeer, against a multinational company, how were you able to sell our cost? Multinational companies are very stringent when they work. They're not going to change their product for an end customer. The local company in India is so flexible because we working in that flexible environment since we have grown up. हम अपने को adjustment हमें अच्छा हम कर लेते हैं adjustment, right? We have been grown up in that way, right? That culture is there. These guys, because they had their R&D in Pune, they changed the product to meet the requirement of the customer, and it was valid because that helped them sell the same to many other banks. Now, if you see Arcos ka reference, 2014 was only SBI. Now they have more than 30 banks. So one customer from 50 lakhs to 6 crores to plus. I'm sure they would have sold more because I left after that. Plus so many other banks. I still meet their CEO over coffee sometimes, and when I talk to him, he's still thankful. He said, Sabeer, yaar, must kaam kiye the whenever we did that, right? Whatever. So basically, because I understood the customer, I told him, sir, isme dalo. Paise meko pata hai kya hai, what's the outcome? So basically, sometimes, as an entrepreneur, as a startup, you have to take those calls in life. Matlab, theek hai, HCL used to give me that flexibility then. It was a very good company when they were doing business in India. Now HCL kind of has reduced their business in India on infrastructure. They majorly focus on global customers and on application. But yeah, back then I'm talking about. So this was an example. So I hope I answered question from Vinayak on commercial, Shiva on, and Lakshmi on the solution and how it was positioned, right? Did I, Lakshmi? Or
Yeah. So as you said, against this, big competitors, we also, talk the same language. It's this customization part that.
Flexibility, सर हमारे बंदे यहीं बैठते हैं, मुझे यूएस से किसको बुलाना नहीं है सर, हम पुणे में बैठते हैं, हम आपके प्रेमाइसेस में आके फ्लेक्सिबल कर देंगे. When you give us a call, I will be there in 2 hours. That person will not be able to come. He will be needing 24 hours to come down. That's how flexible we are. Sir, he's gonna charge you XYZ $1 million. Sir, we're working at this rate, right? End of the day, you should trust us, spend more on us. Because that is you opening a window. And after that, you can upsell a lot of solution. It is not about selling for the first time. First time is always an investment. But after that, to that customer and many other customers on his name.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, yeah, the second example, then let me talk about the second example. It is captive SOC, right? So now again, right, why this example for you guys is because this was a superb deal, right? One of my first deals, which I really, when I talk about someone of my experiences or my achievements in past, I definitely talk about this. Captive, so SBI in 2014, right, before 13-14 they had a managed security services, right, and they wanted to have their 13-14 was the time where all the banks were going for their captive SOCs. Now captive SOC is a on-prem security operation center of a bank where they buy in a lot of technologies to take care of your security posture. So when these guys started, right, we were working with them from 2012. Again, same people, relationship, but because it's SBI is all about process, right? So we had, and they wanted to start big. Sorry. So they basically had some, if I remember, 6 technologies that they had finalized there. So it was SIM, it was DAM, it was NBAD, it was anti-phishing, it was anti-malware, and it was vulnerability management. So they had this 4 products and 2 services, and they came out with this RFP, right? I picked up this massive RFP back then, some 42 odd crores. One of my biggest deals that I picked up. It was a 5-year deal, services, all of that, right? In this, right, one thing that I would want to highlight here is, guys, and why I bought these examples. Again, ticking all those boxes: relationship, ecosystem, partnership, making sure you get all of these 6 players. Because you will not have all of these 6 solutions from the same player. SIM we had given of RSA, DAM was Imperva, NBAD was Cisco or someone, anti-phishing, anti-malware was again RSA services. And the most important solution, why I bought this example was, one more thing, the vulnerability management solution. I am not sure if you guys have heard about this product or this product still exists, but it was a very small product called Nessus. So Nessus was a company that had a vulnerability management solution. It was again a very small company, not much presence. I don't think it's an Indian company, yeah, but not much presence in India. And these guys, Tenable, yeah, perfect. Krishna, yeah, Tenable, yeah, Tenable is now that name Tenable, but that time it was 10, 12 years back, it was Nessus. So these guys, basically, had no presence in India, and they were hungry, and they had a really good product. In VMware was first, in HCL first we evaluated their product, and it was so good, we made sure that we take these guys to SBI, and they were able to get in their specs, and we sold this solution. It was a fantastic solution, and it worked well. So when why am I telling you guys this is right? When your solution is there, even if it is small, even if you make sure that you have partnership with two. One is the big SIs that exist in this space in India, those ecosystem partners. I'm not sure how many still are proactively. So I am sure IBM is there, Wipro is there, Entity is there, all these big guys. Make sure you have partnership with them and the smaller ones as well. So you have a lot of smaller partners as well, and also with other ecosystem players. You're in the interoperability of the solution, right, which I discussed about. If these two things are there in your solution, right, I am sure a lot of people will want to take that solution. Nessus was that one who kind of ticked on those boxes. They aligned with us. They aligned very closely with us. They gave us whatever help that we wanted as HCL to position this to SBI. And they integrated well with all the other players. They were able to pass on their logs to RSA. They were able to correlate their logs in RSA and all of that, right? So yeah. So this was the second. Now the next two examples that I would like to quote is my very recent examples, right? In lockdown, and this kind of came into light in lockdown, where VMware has two solutions on the end user space. One solution is my Workspace ONE solution, which is typically an MDM solution, a mobile device management solution. And my second solution is a VDI solution, which is called Horizon, which gives you desktop virtualization capabilities. When the lockdown when this corona hit us, right, really bad, at that time, right, even banks, everyone was working from home. Now a bank cannot function where people are working from home, right? People still have to go to data center. So for them, right, when we started talking to this bank, SBI, RBI, and a lot of other banks, right, we were able to position them our MDM or VDI solutions that enable their users to work from home. But what happened in that context now, because bank has a very big security team that does security checks across levels, that if you're giving an access to a user from home to access his laptop, and via that the internal applications of the bank where there is data being transferred, is it really safe? Is it secure? Right? At that point of time, our solution was the Workspace ONE, was able to tick on a lot of boxes from an MDM side. But that solution was not able to tick on one boxes, which was device endpoint compliance check. We were not able to check the device. So if I have a MacBook right now, my solution MDM gives me security to access my enterprise application. But is my the console from which I'm accessing those, is it really in line with the security posture of the bank? Does it have the antivirus updated? Does it have all the signatures there? All of that, the endpoint. My solution did have those capabilities. At that point of time, a solution which I had never heard of, neither those the solution was present in India, called OpsWatt. This is 4 years back, early stage, 4 years back, early stages of Corona, right? 4 years back. This solution was not there in India. So these guys, we had some global references. We got them in India, and we sold this as a VMware and an OpsWatt integration to these banks, right? And this ticked all their boxes. Endpoint compliance OpsWatt se ho raha tha, and बाकी सब हमारे solution से हो रहा था. And they were able to give this, functionality to these guys to work from home. So basically, after that, when I talked to the OpsWatt guys now, they said, dude, you were the first ones who helped us in entry. Now we're there in almost every bank, because they have worked with VMware in SBI, and if SBI buys, everyone else buys. Similarly is with ControlUp. Now we have VDI. We have a very good Horizon desktop virtualization solution. But one missing link in that solution is we're not able to give customers a end-to-end, I would say, a monitoring of their environment in terms of end users. ControlUp is something that bridges that gap. So we have taken this also to a lot of customers. We have white labeled this solution and sold it as part of VMware till last quarter. Now I think that partnership, now ControlUp has decided to sell on its own because they have enough and more references via VMware. But we white label this solution. Now why am I telling you guys these is that someone like a VMware or an XYZ company, if those solutions do the market research really well, if you have a solution that really takes care of a particular requirement, but a bigger solution in the market is not able to cater that, can you kind of go along with them to sell one solution to the customer? Because I'll tell you why. I'll quote a very very good example, and this came to me when I was talking to this SBI guy this morning, and I was refreshing my memory before coming in this session, and he talked about now, because this person is like, he's a good friend now, and he's at a good level there in SBI because he has grown over years. So I was telling him, I was checking with him. So he said, Sabeer, you do talk when you talk to these startups on security, right? Talk to them about a few things, right? One he did mention was a subject matter experts, right? Now you have very niche solutions, right? This is also USP in your case. When you have niche solutions, right? So, for example, Lakshmi, you mentioned about WAF, right? WAF is still not that niche, right? Because you have a lot of players in WAF. So I had sold WAF. VMware, by the way, VMware also has WAF, right? We have
Yes. So,
advanced load balancers, and we have WAF as well on software layer. So we give that as a software layer to a customer. And I've sold it to all my customers.
So the niche area that we are bringing into picture is we are one of the first globally to be on Kubernetes architecture. It's a Kubernetes based WAF.
Exactly. So now, perfect. Lakshmi, I think, I'm able to relate. I'll tell you why. That will come in the fifth example. Now, I talk about, just hold your thoughts for some time. I'll talk about this Kubernetes WAF in that example. So now, sorry. So coming back to the point of subject matter experts. Now, when you talk about subject matter experts, Lakshmi, you would be good in a particular subject, right? That's your USP, and you should leverage that. And how do you leverage that is now, make sure that, like in my case, and I'll be very honest, guys, I am not I'm a good sales guy, but I'm not a good technical. I understand technology a little bit, but my point is now, even in VMware, when you go and talk to customers, right, we are we are jack of all. Sir, we can do everything for you. But when it comes to drilling down at low level, yes, some things we are good, some things we are not that good. And I'll be honest, there's nothing to be. In your case, right, you have only one solution or maybe two, right? You are good at what you're selling. Use it as your, use it as your USP. Make sure they understand, right, what you're good at, because that really helps you in two, three things. One is, right, smaller, and I've seen one of my friends who started a company. I don't want to name that because it will be too much of giving too much of information. He started one company, a security company, right? A product very similar to Arcos ka PIM. Well, I can give you some insights. You can Google it yourself. And my very close friends, right? These guys started 5 years back, a very similar product to, by the way, they are ex Arcos guys. Very similar product to Arcos. Named it a little differently. They named it PAM, Privilege Access Management from Identity Management. A lot of functionalities, all of that. I was talking to him the other day, and you know what he tells me? And he, by the way, he had given me offer then to join him. Unfortunately, I was in this, I wanted to join VMware and do some different things in life. These guys got an offer from an XYZ MNC of acquisition because that product fits well with the overall security story of that MNC. And that valuation he told me that he's been given is absurd. So I was thinking, if I would have joined in, I would have got some share out of that, right? Anyways, that's a different thing. So basically, my point is, you have to be good at what you're doing, because if you're good at that, you have a great future, right? And also, important thing that this guy mentioned in the morning from SBI, he said, talk to them about these certain initiatives, right? This government, security related initiatives, like these bodies like Certain or RBI or SEBI. These guys now on their public domain they come out with a lot of these initiatives, right? What they want the banks or the governments or the private companies to adopt, right? I have to close by 4:30. Sorry, good. Thanks for reminding, because I also have a call. So basically, you make sure that you kind of go through these documentation. These are publicly related document. RBI guidelines come every 3 months or something, and it talks about what a bank should be compliant with. SEBI comes with a similar, for all of those, depositories or all of the other organizations. Go through that, because that will give you a lot of pointers where you can take your product and how uniquely you can position your product. So that gives problem statements. You can arrive at your solution, link to the problem, go to the customer and tell him, look, Mr. XYZ Bank, this is what RBI tells you should be compliant with. This is what we have for you. That will make your sales easy. So yeah, sorry. So quickly on that point of where Lakshmi mentioned about RBI app modernization, and when you mentioned of WAF, in this, yeah, it was a very unique, a big. I don't want to divulge the value of this. A very big contract that we picked up with an ISV, which is an application vendor, where we modernizing RBI's core banking. VMware is modernizing RBI's core banking on VMware's Tanzu platform, which is a Kubernetes platform. So VMware till a few years back was only into virtual machines. Now on the same hypervisor, we give you functionalities of Kubernetes and orchestration. So basically, when we do this right, and when we are taking this solution, so when you're doing an app modernization, application modernization is not only about one solution. It is a tech stack that goes in, right? It talks about you have hypervisors, you have containers, you have logging, you have key management, you have security, you have you have CI/CD, you have a lot of things, monitoring and all of that. In this, there is load balancing also. Now VMware does load balancing. VMware does load balancing for a lot of good things. So by the way, there I didn't position any other load balancer, but VMware load balancer only for Kubernetes. But that requirement was very unique. They needed load balancer for the Kubernetes platform, not a VM platform. To make sure that the scale up and the scale out of these happen when the new containers are spinned out into production, and on the fly, right? So basically, yes, very unique. So you say, as you rightly said, right? You can definitely work with players like VMware and Red Hat to position your Kubernetes-based WAF solution or a load balancing solution. So yeah, basically that was it. This is more of a summary, as I said, right? I have 5 minutes, so I'll summarize. Understand the problem statement, guys. Have a clear solution aligned to the problem. Understand the sales cycle, very important. Someone mentioned that you guys get stuck on POC. POC when we go and sell a solution to a customer, we try to avoid POC, because if you stuck in a POC cycle, it will go on and on and on, because customer starts with something, they will keep on adding. Even if you want to do a POC, make sure your POC use cases are defined at the start. Okay, sir, out of my 20 functionalities, I'm not going to show you all 20 in my POC. For you, these three, if we agree on, I will show you these three. We tick on this POC, you give me a sign off on POC. Have that POC sign off document ready. Otherwise, it will go on and on, because you have to have that sales cycle. For me, we live on quarters or 6 months. I cannot have my POC run on for quarters and I don't close my deal, because I don't do my numbers. If I don't do my numbers, my salary 50% is variable, I'll lose my salary. And there is no excitement for me to stay back. So basically, understand your sales cycle. Relationship, as I said again, right? Mentioning it here across levels. Pricing, packaging. Make sure products are attractively priced and packaged. Don't have too many SKUs. In VMware, over time, we have complicated a stack. We had like 10,000 SKUs. Don't have so many SKUs. Have a very simple pricing, packaging. Day to support, very important. Invest into people. Invest into technical people to support your customers from a day to standpoint, because those are the ones who are going to give you repeat business. Flexibility, relationship beyond the contracts, and people buy from people, guys. Yeah. Thank you. On time, just on time.
No, sorry to cut you short, but just that I want to keep it as a check for you. But
yeah, of course. No, because I had a call as well at 4:30, man. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Because sales is something that excites me, man. I can go on and on and on for the entire day and talk about that.
Well, Sabeer, I could see the energy level right from the beginning of the call till the end. That what connects me, because that what stands out. Typically, you not even have to introduce that you are from sales background. The energy, the aura you brought to the table speaks for you. Because otherwise, usually in any other sessions we have sessions always, the energy levels drop around. There will be fluctuations, etc., etc. But with
hence no
Sabeer,
slides, right? I had minimum slides. Hence more of talking.
And you could, if I not had a 4:30 stop, I mean, you can go on for another 1.5 hours, because that energy, that passion, that knowledge, everything you want to share, that's stupendous. Because the experience you have carried from your different experiences, the closing of the deals, the losing of the deals, everything you brought into table, I'm sure many could connect with you. And I also got personal tips also. I mean, how you could, in between of the calls, how you could quote, Lakshmi's name, Shiva's name, or Krishna's or Vinayak's, etc. So that hooks them to up. And your mantra for success is relationship is what matters in sales, end of the day, because people buy from the people.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what is the most critical mantra. So with that, I thank you so much, Sabeer, for coming out. Just one request to coming out and taking out your a good 1.5 hour time. And I'm sure the point where you said about you you took this as an opportunity to connect back your old clients, brush up your experiences just before the call during the first of this morning to make it more curative, make it bring in more learnings from the startups. I'm sure it was very helpful. We'll definitely carry out so many things from here. And yeah, so this is a team. So thanks for joining. And this is just a connection call, correct? So thereon, the podium is open for you to connect with Sabeer. Sabeer, if you can just share your mail ID or something.
I will do
People
that.
will have if they have some
I'll
queries.
share my personal mail ID. I'll do that.
Yeah. So they will definitely enjoy. They will definitely be happy to get connected and understand more in depth what not to do more when they're going for sales with the next. Okay. So
Surely.
thanks. It's
Pleasure to talk to you, all of you guys. Amazing people, man. Keep up the good work. You guys kind of give us more solutions to sell to the market. So best of luck, innovate, and yeah, enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
thank
So
you.
thank you,
Lastly,
Shabir. So it was
Lakshmi,
really
yeah, I request somebody one of you to share your feedback. Yeah,
yeah.
Lakshmi, go ahead.
So it was definitely a very informative and like insightful presentation that you gave us, because as founders, we have to juggle into many roles. So
Yeah.
sales is one major part of it, because if there's no sales for a product company, you don't exist, right? So
Yeah.
it definitely gave a lot of helpful and impactful insights for us, for me at least. So thanks for that. I mean, and
Whenever you guys stuck, just drop me an email. I'll love to connect with you guys again. If I can help you in any ways, if you get stuck in any sales cycle, do let me know. Yeah, we'll be more
definitely.
than
So
happy
would
to
love
help you
to
guys.
connect with you on a individual note as well, so
Sure.
we can get more insights or integration so possible.
And
Okay.
Abhishek has conveyed his wishes on the chat box. So thanks
Yeah.
again. I'm just feeling sad for the people who missed the session today, the other startups. Thank you
Okay.
again, Sabeer.
Thank you
Thanks
guys.
for
Bye.
joining. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day. Bye bye.
Thank you all. Bye bye.